Across history, armies have been shaped by a tension between hierarchy and network, between centralized direction and decentralized action. Traditional militaries, especially those influenced by Clausewitz or Germany, favored hierarchy because it delivered scale, coordination, and unity of command. The clarity of a top-down structure allowed states to synchronize complex operations and mass combat power. But hierarchy concentrated decision-making and created a centralized center of gravity. Disrupt that central node, and the whole system could falter. Irregular warfare theorists have always pointed to a different model. Sun Tzu's advocacy of flexibility and delegated initiative, Mao's dispersed guerrilla cell guided by an overarching political aim, and T.E. Lawrence's description of algebraic warfare all point toward the power of networked organization. Later, Arquilla and Ronfeld formalized these insights in their theory of net wars, arguing that the most resilient modern organizations are those built as distributed networks. In such networks, strength comes from autonomous nodes, redundancy, and lateral communication, not from a single headquarters. Their analysis helped explain why movements like Al-Qaeda endure despite leadership losses. Their distributed center of gravity prevents collapse. What often goes unnoticed is that this supposedly modern insight has deep historical roots. The Mongol military system embodied the same network logic centuries earlier. Yes, the Mongols had a hierarchical strategic apex. The Great Khan and his serious commanders set overarching aims, but below that level, their army functioned like a distributed network. The tumen system provided a formal structure, yet each tumen was a self-sufficient node with its own reckonance, logistics, firepower, and leadership redundancy. If one tumen faltered, others kept moving. No single unit was essential to the whole. Capability and resilience were spread across the formation. This is precisely what Arquilla described as a network-based robustness. The parallels go further. The Mongols practiced extensive lateral communication using couriers, signaling systems, and standardized doctrine that allowed dispersed formations to coordinate without constant top-down control. Prearranged plans and shared methods acted like an analog version of today's digital networks. They kept units synchronized even when separated by vast distances. Their logistics were equally network-like. Each unit carried its own supplies and lived off mobile herds, creating a system of distributed sustainment rather than a vulnerable supply line stretching back to the central depot. The combination of autonomy, redundancy, and lateral connectivity and logistical resilience made Mongol armies remarkably adaptable. Much like the network groups Arquilla identifies as dominant in modern irregular warfare. Today, modern militaries, often without acknowledging it, are rediscovering this old logic. Digital networks, drones, distributed sensors, and secure communication platforms allow small units to act independently yet remain connected. Modern battlefields move too quickly for rigid hierarchies to micromanage. Commanders now provide intent, while lower echelons improvise, adapt, and coordinate laterally, echoing the tumen's freedom of action under a unified strategic umbrella. Warfare has also become deeply specialized, pushing capabilities like intelligence analysis, cyber awareness, and sustainment into smaller formations. This creates self-sufficient nodes that mirror the Mongol emphasis on independent operational capability. The real power emerges when these modern nodes share information, resources, and awareness horizontally. When units can pool their sensing, firepower, and situational understanding across the network, they generate effects far greater than any single node could produce alone. This is the same underlying logic that allowed Mongol forces to coordinate multi-axis operations across continents. Thus, rather than being a sharp break with the past, modern network-enabled militaries are in many ways returning to a pattern the Mongols mastered centuries ago. The hierarchical top tier for strategic coherence and a network-like structure below for adaptability, resilience, and operational speed. Their organizational logic, autonomous nodes, distributed strength, lateral communication, and logistical independence continues to echo across the battlefields of the 21st century.